Hi, I'm Ellen Gormley and welcome back to my channel. So we're doing things a little backwards today. I'm working on this spike stitch and I made this swatch here and I thought it would be easier for you to understand if I did it in more colors. So this is the front of the swatch with the straight down mosaic style color work. And here's the back. They look more like V's on the back, but it's okay. So this is a turned row pattern. So don't forget, by the way, to like and subscribe this channel. I really appreciate it. Keep it going. I'll have more videos for you at the end of this one. I'll tell you some other good color work and mosaic stitches to go look at. So what I did was, after I made my swatch, I went ahead and replaced the solid rows with multicolored rows so you can see exactly where to place the drop down stitches, because when you're working it and it's all the same color, it can be confusing. Like, is it this row? Is it this row? Is it this row? Like, where do you put it? And I admit that this one is going to be hard to teach because it's so intuitive, but I think I figured it out. So what I did was I started already, and then I'm going to go back and start from the beginning so you see the beginning. But because I did alternate colored rows, you can see that the spikes, or long single crochets in this case, are worked in gray. So I have single crochet bookends, one on each side of this row. In the gray row, then reaching down into the yellow row, then reaching down into the blue row, then reaching all the way down to the yellow row. So if you were to read written instructions, it would say, single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then it would say single crochet in the next stitch 1 row below. But when it's solid colors, it's hard to see what that is. So 1 row below would be not in the top where you normally would put it, but down in the next row. In this case, you can see the next row is yellow. Okay, so I have half of a repeat ready. I have the longest one already done, but I'm going to do a few of them with you. So if the longest one is reaching down to 1, 2, 3 rows below into the gray, and then other times it says to go down 2 rows. So I would go down not into the yellow, but into the next available blue gap. So I'm just single crocheting a really long one, and I'm pulling up a nice long loop so that it doesn't get bunched. Sometimes it'll tell you to single crochet 1 row below. So instead of in the top 2 loops of the row that we were working on, we're going to go down a row to the next available hole in the yellow row. Okay, and then it's single crochet in the working row. It doesn't even say working row, it'll just say single crochet in the next stitch, and you know to put it in the top 2 loops of that first row because that's the way we traditionally do it. So then the next stitch is single crochet in the next stitch 1 row below. Do you see it between my thumbs, that gap in the yellow? That's where we're headed. So we'll just single crochet as normal, and we'll pull up a loop, and we'll let the tension be nice and easy, and single crochet in there. So then single crocheting 2 rows below means not the yellow, which was 1 row, but down here in the blue. I think it's very valuable to practice on a multicolored swatch like this until you get the hang of it, because we're going to do it on the 2-color swatch in just a moment, and you'll see why practicing comes in handy. So next we're going to do a long single crochet in the 3rd row below. So 1, 2, the 3rd row below is the gray. So I'm going to just single crochet as usual, but let that be a nice long pull up and pull through, because when I finish the stitch, it ties it all together. But if I like crunched it, you could crunch the fabric like that, and that doesn't look as nice, and it's not comfortable on the fabric. So you want to have a nice, good, easy gauge and give it a nice long loop the length of the rows so that it does not gap or bunch, but sits there nicely. Okay, so I'm gonna go, so after we've done the longest one, and also you can see, and I'll show you on this swatch as well, the longest one is gonna sit on top of the shortest one of the previous pull downs. So when you see this one, this swatch, you can see that they're offset. Okay, so here's my repeat in between my hands. So it's down low here and up. But then the gray is the opposite. And that's what makes that, if you kind of blur your eyes a little bit, you can see the diamond shape here of gray. Okay, so the point is that this row, the pink rows, are going to start with the long ones first, but the gray rows are going to start with short pull downs first. And they're not called pull downs, they're long single crochet, but you know what I'm talking about. You're going to pull the yarn deeper into it in a mosaic style. So, okay, let's do a few more on here, and then I'll start from the beginning so that you can see the multiples and how to get started. But I wanted to help you practice by looking at where the stitches are placed. And I have found that it's pretty intuitive for me, so I found it hard to describe in words until I showed you in the multicolor. So by looking at dropping down 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, and each color is different, then it's much easier to see and keep uniform. So we are doing another repeat where we will go single crochet in the next stitch, then 1 row below, then 2 rows below, then 3 rows below. Okay, and so that long one ends up in the short one of the previous repeat. So I know I'm on the right track. So then we go back up the other diagonal into the blue, into the yellow, into the gray, and then I placed a bookend stitch of a single crochet on the side of each repeat. Okay, are you following? Let's go back to the beginning now that I've shown you like kind of the roadmap of where we're going so that you can see from the beginning how this all starts. So I am going to put that aside. This is a multiple of 6. So there's 6 in each, plus bookends of 1, 2, and actually this one is actually more accurate because I was learning on the other one. That's what swatches are for, learning. Because hey, crochet is a relaxing and valuable use of our time. And if we don't swatch, then sometimes we make mistakes. And that's not always a relaxing and valuable use of our time. So swatching is way better than making mistakes. Swatching is way more valuable than making mistakes. So we have 6 stitches in the repeat. Then we have 1 bookend single crochet on each end. And then we need an extra chain for the foundation row. So we're doing a multiple of 6 plus 2 plus 1. So 6 plus 3, essentially. So I am going to go ahead and do that. And you can stitch along with me. I have 21 chains. In the second chain from the hook, I am going to single crochet in each of them across, and I should have 20, which is a multiple of 6 times 3, which is 18, plus 2 more. As we finish the third row, I'll go ahead and switch yarn to the opposite contrasting color by yarning over and pulling through the yarn in the last single crochet, chain 1 and turn. Remember I said I place a single crochet as a bookend in the first and last stitch on either side. And then I'm going to start the pattern here. I'm going to start the pattern with a single crochet and then 1 on down. Now I have 3 rows of pink here, and so I'll go 1 below. It's going to go between my thumbs. 1, 2 below, between my thumbs. Now 1, 3 below goes into the foundation chain, or if that makes you uncomfortable, you could do 4 rows of single crochet and then you'd put it in the last row of single crochet, the 4th row. But I'm just going to go ahead and spike into the foundation chain for my 3 rows below. Then we'll go up 2 rows, or up 1 row, so that we're only going down 2. Then we'll go up 1 row and then single crochet on the same row, the regular row as usual. So now we have our pattern of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 1 in the usual spot begins the next repeat. So we will again go down a row, down 2 rows, down 3 rows, and then back up again. So down 2 rows, down 1 row, and then back on the top of the stitch. Okay, so then down 1 row, down 2 rows. Do you see now why I wanted to show you the different color? So that you could see exactly where they should be placed. Down 3 rows, down 2 rows, down 1 row, and then back up. Okay, so it's a little bit harder to see exactly where the stitches go when all of the background rows are the same color. Now at this point, we'll place 1 more single crochet as the bookend for this row. And we will do 3 rows, 3 more rows of just plain old single crochet all the way across. As I'm coming near the end of the 3 rows of solid single crochet stitching, it is like we are here on the multicolored one where I did some spike stitches or long single crochet, and then the blue row, the yellow row, the pink row were the 3 rows of single crochet before I do the next spike row. And because we are going to offset them like bricks, I'm going to drop the gray and pick up the pink that was just dangling because I didn't cut it at all. It's just right here waiting for me. I'll pick it up with gentle tension, gently tension the gray, chain 1 and turn, and now I'll begin the spike stitches or long single crochet stitches with the pink. But remember, I want to work it out so that the longest stitch is over the top of the shortest stitch of the gray. So a long one here, a long one here, and that gives you kind of an eyeball sense of where things are going. So single crochet in the first stitch because that's my bookend, and then the long stitch is already going to be here. So it's not down, not in the main stitch, not down 1, not down 2, but down 3. So way down here, pulling up a loop. Then instead of going down all the way 3 rows, we're going to go down 2 rows. Then we'll go down 1 row. And then we'll single crochet on the next available row. Then we will go again, down 1 row, down 2 rows, down 3 rows, and the long one should be on top of the short one from the previous occurrence. Got it? Down 2 rows, down 1 row, and on the main row. So here we are. That's looking really good. And let me get all the way over here and show you how to do a half a one like I did over on this edge so that this will be the complete pattern. So down 2 rows, or down 1 row, down 2 rows, down 3 rows, and then back up again 2 rows. Reach down to 1 more row, and then back on our normal traditional thing. Now we have a half of a repeat left. So we're going to go down 1 row, down 2 rows, down 3 rows, and then bookend with a single crochet in the regular stitch, like as usual. And that is this spiked mosaic stitch. So please check out how to make an intarsia dog if you want to do more color work, or how to do the mosaic box stitch if you're interested in more mosaic. So thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.